Phoenix metro real estate market is making its move, and for buyers and or sellers, it may be a great time for them to do so as well. We're going to go over the facts, figures, and important statistics in this video, so make sure you stick around to the end. Please click like, subscribe, the new hype button, and leave me a comment. I answer everyone. Jennifer, take it away.
New listings. In May, there were 8,002. The previous month, 9,180. And last year this time, 8,619.
Yes, new listings are down from last month as well as last year. Is this good news or bad news? It depends on what side of the proverbial real estate coin you're on. If you're just a buyer or just a seller, it will affect you differently. But if you're buying and or selling, this is where you really want to dial in like a laser your game plan, because you have to make sure making one move is as beneficial as making another move, meaning buying and or selling. Make sure that it's going to help you the best you can in a market that was definitely favored one way for a long time. I don't keep secrets here, so I put it right out there. It's been a strong buyer's market. In fact, inventory is still high, but when we see potential sellers holding off on putting their houses on the market, that means that inventory is starting to decrease. And when inventory starts to decrease, that means there's less of a selection. Buyers then start thinking to themselves they don't want to be left out in the cold, so they better get out there shopping. And when that happens, it starts to create a more balanced market when the market was more favored towards the buyers. As you can see, with inventory starting to decrease, again, buyers are starting to get out there. Interest rates obviously have something to do with it, so does the economy in general. But the old law of supply and demand will hold true above all else, and inventory is starting to dictate buyers getting off that fence and unlocking some doors with their agents.
Active listings. In May, there were 25,633. The previous month, 25,724. And last year this time, 26,637.
Is it good news or bad news that active listings are also down from last month and last year? It's really neither, but it does tie into the whole big picture. As they say, the pieces start to come together or the smoke starts clearing. And when you see new listings decreasing and active listings decreasing, there's a couple different reasons. The main driver would be, of course, if new listings aren't being put on the market, potential sellers are not doing that, then as we mentioned, new listings will go down. And if properties are being sold plus or minus at the same rate, and we'll see that in just a second, active listings should follow suit by decreasing, and they are. Numbers never lie, nor do I. So let's move on to that next facts about real estate here in the Valley of the Sun. Sorry, cat got my tongue. I never really knew what that meant. If you knew what that meant, put that down in the description. I'm going to start trying to figure out what some of these little terms mean and sayings over the years. But that one we've heard all the time, haven't we? Cat got your tongue. I don't know what that means. I've never had a cat get my tongue.
Closed listings. In May, there were 7,496. The previous month, 7,837. And last year this time, 6,594.
There you have it. Closed listings are starting to, well, again, by the numbers, and I love sticking with the facts that numbers always paint that picture for us. You can see that we're down from last month, but up from last year. And pretty much an even keel when you take the numbers in stride. But what's causing the market to start being more balanced is the fact that new listings are not being added to the market. So potential sellers were holding off. And I think that's going to be a little bit different as we move further into this market, 2026 Phoenix real estate market, as it were. But right now, because inventory is decreasing and homes being sold are staying about the same, plus or minus, we can see that everything is starting to balance out, which again will start swaying favor or advantages one way or the other. For the longest time, we were at an inventory high, probably too much inventory. And as the houses are being sold, as we see, and new listings aren't being put on the market because potential sellers are holding off, the market is starting to level off. And that's a good thing. Want to browse homes for sale and rent with no ads or tracking, free and privately? The Mr. Rogers Homes app is for you. Get buyers, sellers, relocation guides. We just started adding vendors. we have you covered with everything Valley of the Sun Real Estate. Check it out.
Average sales price. In May, it was $615,258. The previous month, $620,859. And last year, this time, $612,996.
Average sales price. I always say that's the crowd favorite because both buyers and sellers focus in on price like a laser. Obviously, for different reasons. Buyers always want the price to go down. They want the most repairs possible, and of course, a move-in time that works for them. Where sellers want the polar opposite. They'd like to see the prices go through the roof, least amount of repairs, and to move out on days or a day that works best for them. However, the word that comes to my mind right now is stability. If you look over the course of 12 months, it doesn't get any better with prices holding where they are. In fact, holding at all. With the ratio that they're at right now, plus or minus what I think $10,000 swing, maybe a little bit more or less, that's as good as it gets for both buyers and sellers. Again, yes, buyers want the prices to go down a wee bit. Sellers want them to go up a wee bit, or maybe more than a wee bit. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say here. And also keep in mind that many sellers will become buyers and buyers will become sellers. So nobody really wants to purchase a house at X and see the dollars tank. And then on the flip side, nobody wants to sell a property and see the houses skyrocket when they're going to purchase another one. So again, an even keel keeps the market where it is, and all signs are showing that the prices are going to hold. And I've been saying that for years. I don't pat myself on the back. I'm a professional. This is what you come to me for, this type of advice. But when you look at numbers over the course of, whether it's weeks, months, years, decades, you can see patterns forming. Arizona is a great place to live. Phoenix Metro, some places, better, I guess, worse, I guess. It all comes down to personal preference. But when all the dust settles, what you want to do is find yourself a house that becomes your home. And if you're selling, maybe you're downsizing, maybe you're upsizing, maybe you're relocating somewhere else. You just want to make sure that you feel that when you sell your house, you received proper payment for it. That's it. Smiles, everybody. Smiles.
Sold to list ratio. Let me explain. 100% would mean the seller got their asking sales price. Last month in May, it was 97.13%. The previous month, 97.42%. And last year, this time, 97.6%.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that explanation as well as the numbers. When it comes to sold to list ratio, it really is as simple as that. If it was 100%, the seller obtained every nickel they wanted. Yes, there's little tweaks here and there, but the big picture comes down to the little picture, which means, hey, I wanted this for my product, I got this for my product, and whatever that difference is tells us how much the seller did or didn't get for the product they were selling. So when you're hovering about 97%, it's a good day for sellers.
Monthly supply of inventory. In May, it was 3.4. The previous month, 3.3. And last year this time, it was 4.0.
Month's supply of inventory. It might be the easiest Phoenix real estate metro market statistic I explain. Why? Because I say the same thing every month. Because it's true. I believe a decent inventory level is between 2 months low, 4 months high, 3 months mean average, and about where we are right now. When inventory goes one way or the other, it's pretty much self-explanatory what would happen. If there's only one concert ticket left, well, you can see what it might cause for the potential buyers. I'm sure the sellers would like it, but ultimately not everybody is happy, and that really does not help the overall market. And then the flip side is true as well. If you can't give tickets away and nobody actually goes to the concerts, per se. And by the way, I'm using concerts instead of real estate, but I think you get the correlation or how I'm trying to explain it with a different story, because sometimes real estate, well, it's maybe not the fascinating subject for people to talk about. For me, I would do it all day long. In fact, I do it all day long. So if you ever need anything, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm here for you. Okay, back to the subject at hand, inventory. When you have a decent amount of inventory, both buyers and sellers don't feel pressured one way or the other. They're always going to negotiate their best transaction or contract to sell and or buy a property, but you want to make sure there's properties at a nice level so everybody feels like they're getting into the game at the right time.
Listing success rate. In May, it was 72.2%. The previous month, 72.7%. And last year, it was 68.2%. Basically, that means only 72.2% of the active listings are actually closing.
Once again, thank you, Jennifer. Listing success rate. Again, it's one of those things that for me, I feel it's self-explanatory, but I'm here to explain things in the common tongue, and I do my best to break it down so it's understandable across the board. If listing success rate was 100%, every house put on the market would sell. There we go. We're right around, let's just do the macro part of it, or round up 75%. So by that math, 3 out of 4 houses are selling, 1 out of 4 houses is not. But I want to say something that's kind of important to this whole listing success rate information. It doesn't mean that if you had 4 houses on the block, 1, 2, and 4 would sell and 3 would not. Sometimes areas, no matter what the market, no matter what the price, no matter what the condition, those properties are going to sell. And then the flip side is also true, where sometimes different areas or different styles of properties during different markets have their struggles with moving or selling those properties, moving people in and or out of them. So it's not what I guess I would say inaccurate to say that 3 out of 4 properties are selling and 1 is not, because I take the macro version of that, and then as we dissect it into the micro version, we'd see that different areas, styles of houses, price ranges, amenities, neighbors, etc., could alter that number. So that's why you want to fine tune what exactly you're looking for and where you're looking for it, because many times just to hear 3 out of 4 houses are selling, a buyer and or seller might think this may or may not be a good move for them, when in fact, depending on where they are or where they're looking, it will be a great time or not so much.
Average days on market. In May, it was 82. Previous month, 82. And last year this time, it was 76.
Subliminal, subliminal, subliminal. Last but not least, and I mean that, days on market. Traditionally, when people think days on market, I think they think that's how long it takes to go from for sale to sold. Let's keep in mind that's not true at all. What days on market actually reflects is how long it takes for a property to go under contract. So if you put your house up for sale today, plus or minus 80 days from today, you would expect to have the house under contract. There's still things that could speed up that process or slow it down. And in fact, there's actually parts of the buying process and selling process, as it were, that could derail the whole process, meaning the appraisals usually have to be done. Even with cash buyers, they can have appraisals and inspections get done on properties to see what may or may not be needed to be altered, be it repair wise or price wise, sometimes both. But my point to the story is, when you put a house on the market, that days on market doesn't reflect the day from for sale to sold, meaning somebody gets keys and somebody gets money transferred into their bank accounts. Hopefully, it means that when the house goes for sale, that many days later, it should be under contract. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you watch this one. Until next time, take care. God bless America. I'll talk to you soon.